You go to work, you sit down with a colleague, you start discussing a hard work problem, you get lost in the discussion, a couple hours go by and you didn't even notice. And so time passed strangely, and maybe bodily awareness didn't disappear, like sense of self didn't totally vanish, or you didn't become one with everything, which happens on the other end of the spectrum, and we'll get there in a second. But bodily awareness disappeared, right? And something you pop back into your head and you're like, oh wow, I gotta go run to the bathroom, excuse me. That's really common. On the other end of the spectrum is macro flow. This is when all those characteristics show up and they're dialed up to 10. And this is an extremely powerful, strange experience. And so very strange things can happen. Time will slow down, you'll get a freeze frame effect, and you can also feel one with everything, have out-of-body experiences, all these things. For a very long time, until the 1950s, until they found flow in a giant study group of high-performing atheists. Don't ask. They thought this was a mystical experience. They were sure it was a real thing, but it showed up in religious people or spiritual people. It wasn't something that normal people had access to, and then started showing up in studies of creatives, and then it started showing up in studies of expertise, and then it's sort of, yeah. So it changed, but for a really long time, I mean, out-of-body experiences, I'm one with everything. Like now we understand the neurobiology. I can tell you why you feel one with everything, or why you have an out-of-body experience and why you have it in flow. Back, when we first started studying this, people didn't know what the hell they were looking at, so they didn't realize it was a spectrum. So as you pointed out, microflow is very common at work. There's studies that show that 5% of us spend, that all of us spend about 5% of our work life normally in microflow, often without noticing it. So Flow Research Collective, some of what we do is teach you how do you identify flow in yourself. And once you can start figuring out, oh, I'm in microflow, how can you go from micro towards, it's hard to go from micro to macro, but you can definitely turn up the volume and extend your microflow state or deepen it.